Hey guys.
Check complete. Let's head over to the bar.
Yes. So we're back again with another episode of the VARBAR. My name is Andrew, aka Rapping Drew, and I'm joined by my compadres, man. And as you can see, it's a full house. Full house since episode 209, man. The boys are making an effort today, man. How you doing, guys?
Been better, man. Been better.
Yeah, local, man. Drop points all over the gap for everyone, man.
Mm-hmm. No one's in the Dub Hotel, man. So it's business as usual, I guess. It's business as usual, man. Yeah. Anything interesting that happened this weekend for any of you?
Dry Jan, my brother. So, just strictly non-haram activities, my guy. So
what's dry Jan? Like you don't drink alcohol?
Yeah.
Is that what that means? Yeah. Can't lie, I've sipped, boy.
Well, you know what? I'm doing I'm trying to do like a proper, like no gambling, no nothing, bro. Do you know what I mean? No criminal activity, no nothing, bro.
For the whole year or like just for January?
Nah, just for Jan, bro. Just for Jan. Come on, man.
I'm sure I saw a basketball thing in the other day in the chat.
That's what I'm saying.
Brother, I said starting from that win, innit?
That's funny. Yeah, no haram activities, man. All right, we'll check up on that on a weekly basis. Yeah, let's get straight to the business, man. Game week 20. Some of us are well into the halfway point. I think Liverpool just reached the halfway point in terms of games played. This game, obviously, game of the weekend was the game against Manchester United, our old enemies. One sits at the top of the table. One is staring at the barrel of relegation. Not quite, but they're very, very local. And I must say, man, it ended up into an entertaining game at Anfield, man. If I quickly can summarize it from my point of view, how I felt the game went. Obviously, beforehand, Chelsea dropped points, Arsenal dropped points. Liverpool fans are thinking, with a game in hand, we can make it 9 points, and then 11 points with the Everton, of course. So for us, it was a must-win in terms of in that context, or at least not a must-lose. And obviously, based on United, they lost their previous, I think, 3 games. They haven't won in 4. So for us, this was like, yo, we're counting the numbers again. 7-0, 4-0, 3-0. And I mean, everyone, it might be an everyone may eat game, but obviously it was as the game went on, it was far from that. I think all in all, I can hold my hands up and I can be like, Amorim is the one manager so far that has out tacticked and out coached Arne Slot today. I think the plan that he had for this game, United played it to a T, and they managed to play their game, and even to a point, they may have even won the game. To be honest, they could have won the game at several points. So, with that being said, in terms of Liverpool, Liverpool specifically at Anfield, but I did feel like, especially in the first half, the midfield battle, we got beaten up. I think Gravenberch and McAllister did their best to do what they had to do, but Curtis Jones was nowhere to be seen. Obviously, this strengthens Toast's agenda in regards to the boy. Second half, it was much better in terms of our midfield play, but yeah, Ugarte, brilliant for United. United was aggressive. It felt like they wanted it more. They wanted a response. They actually at 2-2, they wanted to go for a win, which I was surprised about because I thought they would get the goal, set up shop, but they kept going, they kept pressing, and they made it awkward for us. And in the end, they could have won, but 2-2 is probably a fair result, man. Let me go to the Gooners before I go to Strizza. How did you guys see it from your lenses, keen lenses?
Massive result for Arsenal, man. I'll be real. Just from the perspective of, I understand we'll get onto the Arsenal game later. We didn't gain any points, but we didn't go any further behind against Liverpool. I've just had a look at the form table, and I think in a lot of Arsenal fans' eyes, it seems as if we're in a really bad period of form. But last 5 games, we've won 3, drawn 2. If you look at Liverpool, 1-3, drawn 2. So we've essentially matched your results. So from that perspective, there's been some chances missed, but I think Liverpool will definitely see this game as 2 points dropped, probably more so than the Arsenal. Liverpool played well today, but I have to give United a lot of credit, man. I felt like Liverpool would win the game coming in. I didn't think it would be a mauling that a lot of people expected. I think football can kind of play tricks on you, and we all know football's not played on paper. It's a Northwest England derby. I knew it was going to be a tricky game, but I have to give United a lot of credit structurally and particularly defensively. I think Leacher and Maguire really set the tone from a defensive perspective. There were some crunching tackles that I saw in this game that I think just really set the tone for the whole team. I feel like Bruno Fernandes was absolutely everywhere today. Right, there was one little trick he did that just left Trent in the dust. And I think it was just one of those ones where I felt as if United needed a result more than Liverpool needed a result. Liverpool didn't come across like you guys were desperate to win today. I mean, I don't think you guys played badly, but I feel as if there was a desperation in Man United that Liverpool couldn't match today. And as a result, Man United were good value for their draw. We obviously saw an absolutely horrific miss from Maguire at the end of the game. So United, in fairness, could have gone on to win the game. And if you even just take it as simple as looking at the stats, it was actually a fairly equally balanced game. So I think United were good value for their draw for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely agree there, man. I wanted to stay on Liverpool. Definitely in regards to United, good value for the point, but we'll touch on United later. Strizza, man, in regards to where was the game lost for Liverpool? Then, in regards to where did we mess up, in your opinion?
To be honest with you, like before the game, I thought it'd be a whitewash thing. I can't lie. I thought Liverpool would absolutely batter United. I saw them obviously against Newcastle, and they were horrific, and they have been for the last couple of games in the league as well. So I feel like United just wanted it more. Like Toe said, like you said earlier, I think that they had to make a response, obviously, with previous results. There was fire in the belly. Players like Bruno who've been sent off in the Wolves game at a point to prove, and they just wanted it more. I think they composed themselves early on. They had enough. They kind of nullified any kind of early storm. They had a lot of possession earlier in the game, and I feel as though it wasn't lost down Liverpool's right-hand side, but that was definitely the area where you struggled. And United could smell that from early on when Dalot had a chance to go 1v1 with Trent. He went by him pretty easily, got a ball in the box, and that was kind of a constant threat throughout the game. So I think that breeds confidence. I think Ahmed had like a header where he probably should have done better. He got ahead of the ball. And it was definitely down that side with Konate coming back into the team as well, missing the last 6 weeks. I think it was definitely like a weak point for you. And United could kind of smell that a bit. So I think in general, they probably wanted it a bit more. They had a bit more to prove. And they targeted that side. And obviously, we'll speak about it more, but Trent was horrific today, man. Like, he was genuinely, not just defensively, but on the ball, just not his usual self. And yeah, like even the first goal, you know, when Bruno comes inside, it's just so passive. There's no like want or urgency to get to the ball. And then Martinez runs off him and he reacts late. And yeah, in that instant, you get punished. I know obviously you get the goals back, but United were never out of the game. And I don't think even yourself as a Liverpool fan were confident in that. So yeah, I definitely think United won the midfield battle in there. I definitely think obviously him bringing in Mainu and Agate to start in midfield was better for them. We saw Eriksen and Casemiro, they can't play together in there. And yeah, Bruno coming back in and him playing off the left, like he caused problems. So all in all, man, they just kind of wanted it more and they smelled blood on that right-hand side for you guys, man.
Yeah, 100%, man. Mace, in regards to Trent Alexander-Arnold, yeah, from your perspective, man, where did it go wrong for him, man?
He probably just had a bad game. That's basically the simplest way I can put it. You know, I mean, you could say his head's gone, etc. But this is probably the first game in a while that he's been bad. So you just have to put it down to having a bad game. There isn't any other explanation. Maybe Tokes or Strizza can give us as the group to explain why today was really bad. But that's possibly the best explanation I can give. Is his head turned? Yes. As a professional, should you give a good game and play your best? Yes. But can you have a bad game? Equally, yes. So, yeah, just looking at the last past games for Liverpool United. Last year, United came out with a draw as well. You know, and they weren't particularly playing well in the past games, and they came to Anfield and left with a draw. And this year has happened as well. So history repeats itself. Are we going to blame Trent for last year's draw? No. It's just, I just think it's one of those games where it happens, move on. You can't really read too much into it, to be honest.
I think credit to United for definitely targeting Trent. I definitely agree with the Liverpool fans that he has improved defensively, and he's definitely made a scapegoat at times defensively. But today, I mean, and I'm a really big fan of Trent. I probably say this is his worst performance I've ever seen defensively in a Liverpool shirt. You look at the chance in the first half, Højlund's one-on-one. Trent was number one, playing him on side, number one, and then number two, he was nowhere to be found when the ball eventually went over his head. Højlund is a horrific striker for that finish. hit it straight at Alisson. And then in the second half, in the build-up, as Strizza said to Leach's goal, Trent gives away the ball, trying to make a long pass. He then doesn't press the man when it comes back down that wing. And credit to Bruno, man, because on his day, he can just be an unbelievable footballer, man. The reverse pass was brilliant, and it was a top finish from Leacher as well. But I definitely feel as if a lot of the opportunities that United kind of generated did come from that right side. I mean, it's easy to say maybe he's like 1 foot out the door. I don't know necessarily how much truth or strength there is to the whole kind of Real chat, if I'm honest. I've not seen anything super credible, but he definitely played like somebody that he wasn't 100% like his head wasn't 100% in the game, man. So he was an easy target, and when you kind of already aren't like the strongest defensively, it can be difficult, man. So yeah, definitely a tough day at the office for him, man.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think I definitely agree with I'm with both of you guys, but definitely what Shalom said, man. It was a bad game from him. It's been a while. Like I said, it's game week 20, and this is the first time people are actually mentioning Trent defensively, like throughout the whole game, where he's having a bad spell. So you kind of have to charge it to the game. However, something that was mentioned in the group chat, that Trent, he sometimes has these kind of games in a season where it's like crucial. Like, when Robbo sometimes like he makes huge mistakes, because Robbo made a mistake as well, but no one is really. That's what I don't get. No one is really at Robbo, but Amart's goal. I know Konate was very passive in not closing down. Was it Dallo or Bruno? I think it was Dallo. Not closing down Dallo.
No, Amart's goal was Garnacho.
Garnacho, sorry. But Robbo, you should see that coming. You can't leave Amart that free. Like, you can't. You know what I mean? So I think Robbo is there to blame, but also Alisson could have done way better there. But if you saw the reverse angle, Alisson, I don't know what he tried to do, but he thought Ahmad was going to hit it in a different corner where like Van Dijk was already there. So why was you trying to anticipate that? So I think all in all, there were a few people at mistake there for that particular goal, man. But let's go to United, man, because, like I said, I don't think Liverpool played bad, personally. It's not one of them where I can be like, yeah, we were woeful. United were just very good. Their best performance this season under Amorim. Let's start with their midfield, man. And let me go to Strizza for this, about Ugarte and Kobe Mainu, man. Because especially in the first half, they were giving I wouldn't say like, let me say Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones got fisted up in that midfield. But even then, for them recovering the ball, they lost the ball, but they recovered it as soon as possible. How impressed were you with like United, their midfield? Because I felt like that was very key to their performance.
Yeah, no, they were definitely, two stand-up players. Obviously, coming in from the game against Newcastle, you could immediately see a difference, just energy, composure on the ball. And like as you said, when the ball was lost on turnovers, they won the ball back. They recycled it. Mainu is especially on the ball. I was impressed with today. I think United in general, I think they just looked really composed in possession. There was always a way out. Like ordinarily, especially at Anfield, the first 10, 15 minutes is usually a rush. Liverpool come flying out the blocks, but like, I felt like United had time and they were composed and little balls around the corner. They recycled it. They went into midfield. They switched out to the other side, and they were a big part in that. And then obviously we know Liverpool possess a lot of players, quality players going forward, but like positionally they were good. They won their tackles. They were helped as well by the three behind them who also show composure on the ball. And when the ball was played into them, they didn't lose it. And I think that's important. I think a lot of the time against Liverpool, especially, the ball can be turned over in the defensive third and they're on the back three, but it wasn't happening. So, yeah, them two, they have to play. I think most United fans, most people that know football will say that they're the best two in there for them. And when you play a Casemiro or Eriksen, you lose a lot. So, yeah, they were good, man. And I think Bruno especially as well. Like, I think he was so composed today. He, as To said earlier, the magic for the goal, the reverse pass, but in general, like his overall play, work rate, they just worked hard, man. And it felt like they had a point to prove. And yeah, them two in the middle were good. But do you know what as well? You said earlier about the crunching tackles coming from Maguire. I think there's one Maguire, one from De Ligt. It was like I think they were both on Diaz. I think Jones kind of got run out a little bit. It kind of set the tone. Like, we're not here to like get run over today. We're gonna fight. We're gonna put up a good performance. And obviously those two in there with the back three behind them were pivotal for that, man.
Hondo. Shout out United, man. Shout out Bruno Fernandes. I've been onto Bruno Fernandes ever since he's touched England, innit? And yeah, this is probably the best I've seen him in a long time, man, in terms of like making the right decisions for the full 90 minutes. Like making the right passes, being aggressive, winning tackles, running.
He was everywhere,
specifically the running part, like making effort. Like, he set the tone as well for United, man. That's their creative spark as well, man. So like, yeah, man, I have to hold my hands up, man.
Bruno always gives you that when you clock. It's just he's, in regards to him as a footballer, like, he just doesn't make, I guess, the right decision. But when it comes to running and putting in the energy, he will give you that. But he's just not even, he's just not a player.
Not always, man. I remember him at Anfield a few times, man. He gives up when the going gets tough.
Yeah, he's a moaner. I agree.
Yeah.
He's a big moaner, but he will always run. And that's one thing I know for Bruno. He would run, but the rest, not as good. But this game, fantastic. Chokes, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, man, I feel as if, he imposed his will in every kind of facet of the game, on the ball, off the ball, man. He was everywhere. Like, you saw him down the wing, you saw him through the middle, in the middle of the park. Yeah, no, he was brilliant today, man.
I got a question, though. I got a question for everyone. It involves, it regards Amorim's formation. Do you reckon that's the formation he will play going forward? He's not changing it. Because it kind of goes to it kind of goes to the point again when you touched about Maino and Ugarte, and it just dawned on me, for that formation to work, you need the legs.
Yep.
And that's why they did really well.
I think a big part today, I don't know if you noticed, and I think they mentioned it in commentary, but Martinez was stepping out. I think against Newcastle, the amount of times where Isak was pulling into pockets and getting it and turning, and they're immediately onto the back. They weren't getting that same time today. So when players are finding space in pockets, Martinez was on them, pushing them back. And when he went in, Dalot tucked in and covered. There looked like a bit more cohesion today. Like how Bruno wasn't running around like a headless chicken. Like, there was just more structure to the way they played. And I think a big part of that is the two in midfield, because obviously if they step out of line, or they don't check their shoulder and the players in front of them and there's one behind them and then the centre back doesn't come out, it's going to create space, right? So, but they just seem like they were all within 5-10 yards of each other. When someone went, like when Martinez went to the ball, someone came in and covered them. When Bruno went wide, someone dropped into, like, it was just structured. And I think, like, obviously people have been critical of the 3-4-3. I don't know whether they've necessarily got the personnel to play it, but this is his system, right? So if you want to implement your system, you've got to work with the players you've got. And then moving forward, January now into the summer, then you can recruit, get rid of the players that don't fit your system and go from there. I don't think that he should change his way of playing just because the players aren't there to play it. You can make adaptations, but ultimately that's your way of playing as a manager. And they bought into it today.
And that's a great point, Strizza, because it means at the end of the season, United do need to buy more players to play that system. Question is, do they have the money to? Can they? And how long would it take them to?
But this is why they use this season to.
Yeah.
They're not
So,
going to buy 11 players to work with what they have and get those that are buying into it. You keep them. Those that are not buying, you get rid of them. So he has enough time, I guess.
No, it's for sure a sign of a good manager where you know you don't have the personnel, but you stick to your principles in terms of the way you want to play, and you get a decent result by those players like executing. Do you know what I mean? So I have to give him credit. I'm not going to lie. Like if United come into the FA Cup game next week against Arsenal, play that way, it's going to be a very difficult game. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And that goes to my next point, right? Especially to you, Mason Toast, because you guys have been very critical about United. Do you see them? Is this like a thing for them to keep it going, to be consistent, to play this way, or do you still think like, meh, it remains to be seen?
No, man. I've been telling United fans this, and actually, Prez, if you're listening, take note. I said, taking from my experience with Arteta, he came into our club where we were similar to United. We were just headless chickens, and he came in with a system, and he just played through the rubbish. But you saw that there was a good pattern of football. There was a good. You saw the positives, and there's a lot of parallels with this Amorim's United. So essentially, they will get there, and that's why I brought up the part about the players that they need to get in the system, etc. Because they need to stick with this formation, stick with the system, and of course buy more players to fit the system. So they'll get there. With regards to this season, this United is so unpredictable. They could come to us and we would just wipe them, or they can just come and literally trouble us. So I don't know. I feel like we will be fine for that FA Cup, but they're picking up form, and that's worrying, obviously from a Gunners perspective.
I think personally, there's still a lot of really average players in their team. A lot of players that are kind of like definitely past their best for sure. I know obviously they've just recently signed him, but I don't rate Højlund at all. I don't think he's a very good player. I don't think he's gonna take United anywhere as a 9. I've not really been impressed by Mazraoui personally. Like I've been watching him for the last couple of games. He didn't really do too much wrong today, but in previous games I've been like I've had concerns about if he's even at this level to be playing. I think they've just extended Maguire.
Oh, come on, bro. Mazraoui had been one of the better players, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's mid. I think he's mid, innit? Like, that's just me, but that's just what I've seen this season. Maguire, I know they've extended him again. Another player that he's probably kind of past his best. So yeah, man. Obviously, there's a lot of people that didn't play today. Obviously, the Casemiros and the Rashfords. A lot of them are either kind of like past their best or probably should move on. So there is going to have to be a big overhaul of this squad because, like, ultimately we've seen a lot of the starters today play for this United team for a long time and they've not had success. And it's going to take some time, man, for sure.
For sure, man. Let's move on, man. Depending how you look at it, points drop, or I see yes evens, to be honest, because Chelsea and Arsenal drop points as well. It's business as usual. But in terms of like a wounded United, not wounded, but a United that hasn't won in yonks, 14th place at home, we should have won, right? So in that sense, you can look at it as points dropped and extending the gap. Let's move on, man. Let's go on to the rest of the games. And obviously, a man like Strizza is here, nice and ready on time. The first game on Saturday, Spurs against Newcastle. I feel like Spurs, you guys lately have been playing at home like a lot of times. Have I got it wrong? Every time I look at Spurs, you're playing at home.
You're right, because I've been going. So
yeah,
so it'd be good. So, I turned down 2 tickets for Saturday because I just didn't fancy it, I'll be honest.
You didn't fancy it? I mean, performance-wise, it was much better, right, against Newcastle. You lost 2-1. Ange head loss again. He thought like the referee was doing a mazine in that particular game, which I think he did, but I think it was on both sides, to be honest. Both sides had their arguments. Gordon Isak, Solanke with the opening goal. But I think, like, especially in the first half, you man were good value, man. How did you see it?
Yeah, I think first 10 minutes, well, obviously we started well. Solanke got the early goal. We were on the front foot. We knew that at the start of the week, or I think just for the weekend, there was a bug going around the camp. We had a lot of injuries. I think only 7 first-team players were available for training on the Friday. So I was thinking, who's going to be playing? Keeper that's been at the club for 9 years makes his first start. Probably a good thing because Forster's way past it. But, like when I saw the lineup, I was thinking, boy, like we're in trouble. To get the early goal, I thought, right, okay, cool. Maybe these men are going to turn up today when I least expect it. And then, about the handball. I don't know what you might think about it, but it's a blatant handball. It leads to a goal. I cannot believe it's not been allowed. Ridiculous joke of a decision. But I think throughout the game, the ref was awful, like shocking.
Yeah.
And then after the goal, like it was a bit end to end. I don't think we had real control of it. And then Newcastle took control. Tonali, Bruno G, Joe Linton just being a powerhouse, and they kind of started to dominate the midfield. Got the goal before half time, and we needed something in the second half because I think for the first quarter of the first half we were better, but then Newcastle took over going into the second half. So, and then I think second half we were very good. Like I think we were the team on the front foot. I think we had a few good chances. I wouldn't say that Dubravka was being overly worked in goal, but we were definitely a team on the attack in front, trying to make things happen. Brennan Johnson probably should have scored, at least hit a target, but that's Brennan Johnson. And we end up losing the game. But I feel like it did kind of. I'm not going to blame the handball, but that was a big moment in the game. I know it was early, but it kind of just put us back a little bit. All in all, I'm not that frustrated with the performance. I think we played quite well, especially in the second half. And I think if we got a draw out of the game, we would have been good value for it. But it's another loss. It's 10 losses out of 20 this season. I don't remember the last time. I think the last time we won a home game was 2 months ago. So that says it all. Obviously, there's been a bit of pressure from outside of the club about Ange, but David Ornstein reports say that he is being backed 100%. So we'll be sticking with him. And I just think as a whole, like there's bigger problems at Spurs, right? But changing the manager now isn't the right answer. Like people may argue that the way we play is stupid and playing the high line and whatever else. We're missing so many players. I don't want to come and make excuses, but we're missing our keeper, both our centre backs. Udogi's now out for 6 to 8 weeks. Bentancur got himself suspended again after just coming back. We didn't start with Son or Maddison. Like there's so many different reasons as to why results haven't been at their best recently. But we're halfway through the season, obviously. So I'm just trying to stay positive, man. It's been a hard few weeks, I can't lie, but we got a big game Thursday against you, man. And we just got to just try and get a good result in that one.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think because I looked at it after the game in terms of like your injuries and your illnesses, whatever. You guys have a lot of first team players missing, which is mad, and for a long time as well. So yeah, you can blind him. I'm a bit iffy with that. Yeah, you can blind Ange for that, but at the same time, you still need to put numbers on board. That's why we build. That's why we're the top 6. That's why we get the money that we have to spend on our squads. That's why we have big squads, and you have to utilize your squad somehow, some way. But obviously, like losing like your 2 centre backs, 2 of your best players on the bench with illnesses as well. It's not a good thing, of course. But I always say, like, even if you look at the players that are on the pitch, in respect to the opposition that you're playing, can they still do the job of at least putting in a good performance? If the question is yes, which I think for most of these Spurs games, the answer has been yes, because you haven't won in 4 games, right? You know what I mean? So it shouldn't be an excuse, man, in my opinion. Anything else on Spurs, Gooners?
Spurs, bro. Let's move on.
Mid than mid, man. Like, just.
I'm not trying to hear that, because do you know what it is? Yeah, like these man.
Hey, we soon land on the Gooners, man. We soon land on the Gooners.
Do you know my issue with Arsenal fans most of the time is they think the whole world's against them, but then when we're talking about other teams, they can't be like objective about it. It's all about them. You can't
Excuse me, though, but
like-
what do we have to be objective about concerning
So he just
Spurs?
asked you a question. And your thing is this touching your headpiece, and Toast is talking about mid of the mid. But if you took out Raya, Gabriel Saliba, Rice, you didn't have Saka.
Have
You
a
obviously don't have
dick.
Saka right now. That you did. He had all these men out for a sustained period of time. Your results will suffer too. So it's
All
like,
right, cool. Okay, are we doing this? Let's do this because I didn't want to do this. Right. Look at your bench. Look at your team. The majority of the injuries suffered was hamstring injuries, right? And especially the theory is basically the way Ange plays his football. Right. So you've caused it. Technically, Ange is the architect of his own downfall. The way he's played football has created this issue.
it's so lazy. You know why it's lazy? Because
Cool.
we look at no, I understand, and to a certain extent I agree.
In terms of Van der Ven, 100%.
Yeah,
Even
Van der
rushed him
Ven,
back. Yeah.
Van der Ven I can agree with. Romero's a knee injury, right? Udogie was a hamstring injury, fair enough. Saka done his hamstring. Are we going to start talking about the way that Arteta plays?
So Udogie is a hamstring injury. Even though he isn't good enough. Richarlison hamstring. Ben Davis hamstring. Destiny Udogie hamstring. Nicky Van der Ven, we spoke about that.
What did Trent say about Spurs? They're always running back to their goal.
Listen. I agree that the way we play and the high line and the fact defenders are constantly have to do doggies to get back, to make challenges, to make blocks, it is a factor. It has to be. The medical team in terms of rushing players back and not being ready is ridiculous, and then being out for longer than they should be out for. Again, I agree with. But ultimately, the intensity that we play with, a lot of other teams play with the same intensity. Whether it's like our high line, teams play with high lines. Teams press from the front. It's not just that. Some of it's down to bad luck. Some of it's down to obviously the tactics employed. But ultimately, I think it's a factor, right? And whether players get injured or not, it's going to affect any team. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. The performances haven't been great. Other than I thought Newcastle, we were all right. We were decent. But prior to that, not great at all. But we're missing some top players. And like, if you take out a keeper, your two centre halves, your captain, your vice captain, like you're going to struggle in games. So, and let's not forget as well, Newcastle are a decent side. This Newcastle beat you, man, fully strength. Let's not forget this. So
they're the most informed team in the league.
There needs to be a little bit of context, man.
Go on,
I'm sorry, man. Like you can't like the thing is Tottenham want to call themselves a top 6 team, and they are a top 6 team. They're an established top 6 team. No other top six team would be allowed to be performing this badly, this consistently, and use injuries as an excuse. I'm sorry. Like you are I think you're the second top scorers in the league. So it's not as if you don't have anyone. You still have personnel, but your manager chooses to play in a way which puts even more of a pressure and burden on that defense. You guys have lost 10 games this year. Ipswich have lost 10 games this year. It's completely unacceptable for you guys to have lost that many games this year and think that you're going to be able to get off scot-free. Like you guys simply are not performing well enough, and it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Like I know you're talking about the captain and the goalkeeper and the injuries, but you're an established top 6 side. If this happened to anyone else, that would not be a valid enough excuse. And it's simple as that.
I agree with what you're saying. The 10 losses from 20 games is not good enough. I also agree that, we've still got players that can put the ball in the back of the net. But we've also got an 18-year-old playing at centre-back who's a midfielder, come from the Championship. We've got a guy that we've signed, and again, that's on the club, that isn't good enough to play at this level, or at least for a top 6 team in Dragerson. And we got Timo Werner playing left mid. Mate, I couldn't believe we entered the game with Werner and Reguilon on the left-hand side. Like, Brennan Johnson's on the right. Like, I understand it's Spurs' recruitment, but any team will struggle with these players aren't good enough. And people want to blame the manager for the way we play. I sat there and watched us under Nuno, Conte, and Jose play shit football, boring football. We've gone from one end to the other, and there needs to be some sort of like balance with it. But when we had Vicario, when we had our 2 centre halves, when we had the starting team, which is our best 11, we had the third best defensive record in the league. So You look at the results since we've lost those mainstays in the back line, and you'll see a difference. You try to go out there and play with an 18-year-old at centre half and drag us, and again, it's on the club, right? It's on the club 100%. The recruitment's not been good enough, and you can't go into a Premier League season with 3 centre halves. You just can't do it. But ultimately, it's the position that we're in, and I think like as a fan, you have to take time and realize the position that you're in, and say, look, like moving forward, there's still a lot to play for. We're in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. We're going to get through to the Europa League, and there's still another 18 Premier League games to play. So it's a long season, man. It's a long season. But listen, we shouldn't be 14th
but I think,
or 13th.
I think with what we're saying, I think you're still expecting better, right? Like your team to do better.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. But I am expecting better. 13th isn't good enough. I think 12 or 13th. I don't even look at the table no more. But I think a couple of wins and we're 7th or 8th. And that's the closeness of the league, how close the teams are on points. We're not here to challenge for the league title. Obviously, top 4 would be nice. We're not at that level, right? For me, it's all about a trophy. If we finish 15th and win something, I don't business. Thank you very much. I'll shake every one of you man's hand at a link up in May, and we'll have a drink and we'll keep it moving. I don't business about the league because we've done the top 4 thing, we've done the top 6 thing, and we ain't won nothing. And all it's done is put monies in the owner's pocket. So let's actually win a trophy. And I think the way that Ange plays, we can win something. We can. In a one-off game, we can win something. We just need to get there, and then we'll see what happens. So listen, to the Tottenham fans that tune into the pod, stay positive, man. The worst thing you want right now is to get rid of a manager, bring another man in, and start the process again. You need to have patience and take time, because we know what happened with Arteta as well. In his first 2 seasons, he struggled, 8th and 8th, and then you saw the progression. So you've got to hope that something similar can happen with Ange.
Let's see, man. Let's see. Passionate from the Spurs corner. And then in the other games as well, Aston Villa beat Leicester 2-1. I didn't watch that game, but it looked like a good game. Bailey, Barkley, and Mafdidi on the score sheet. I think Leicester. Let me check Van Nistelrooy's.
I know,
L's, bro.
I know Mason Drew remembers what I said about Van Nistelrooy's first game. They won 3-0, but they conceded 31 shots. So for me, I knew the bad results were coming. And
yeah,
do you know what I mean, man? The chickens are coming home to roost, man, for my boy Rude, man. So
here we are, man. Iriola is continuing his good work. 1-0 win against Everton. Brooks with amazing Kirkus assist. Bournemouth, man, they're my second team in this league, man. I absolutely love what they're doing at the moment. They sit in 7th, 3 points off top 4. Again, man, a top 10 finish, I think. Where did they finish last season? Like 12th, 13th. So a top 10 finish is good business, man. Good stuff as well. But they have recruited, they have spent money on players, to be fair, but I think top 10 should be good value for them. Crystal Palace against Chelsea ended in a 1-0 draw. I mean, Chelsea to a lot were tipped to, also go all the way in terms of like challenging for the league. But their last few results, I mean, I saw a stat. They played Ipswich. What else? Was it Leicester? No, not Leicester. They played basically like the bottom 10 teams and collected 2 points.
Yeah, they played Fulham as well. They lost it there at home.
Fulham, Everton as well in that journey. Who else?
Palace. Yeah, drew to Everton, drew to Palace, lost to Ipswich.
Lost to Ipswich. Not good enough, man. I think from a Chelsea's perspective, and I can understand why they're visibly frustrated. I think people are now pointing towards Maresca and questioning some of the decisions that he's making in regards to personnel and substitutions. I think in the Ipswich game, I agree, man, where he left Jackson on the bench. I think he left someone else on the bench as well, which there was completely no need. Yeah, the keeper, yeah. I don't think there was any need for them to do that. They're currently 36 points, 10 points off Liverpool. Do you guys still see them as firm top 4 favorites? Or still seeing them? Yeah?
Yeah, they'll get top 4.
I think so. Yeah.
But he does need to stop doing this whole thing of like taking man off. Because obviously from what I read and what Chelsea fans are saying, I know Jackson, the goals have dried up a little bit, and he does still miss big chances, and he did yesterday as well. But it's what he does defensively from the front. He always is a willing runner. He closes man down, doesn't give defenses time to breathe. So when you bring in Nkunku, who's a little bit more laid back and relaxed, it allows opposition to have confidence at the back and build up. And that's what's been happening. So I understand he's got a big squad, he's got to rotate, but you got to win your games. You can't be going Ipswich away, Portman Road, and losing. I'm not saying they're about, we lost to them in it. So like, but I'm saying if you want to be a team that wants to go, and challenge or get in the top 4, you can't be doing that. So,
but Strizza, let me play devil's advocate to that. Sometimes you need that experience of learning how to go to those teams and taking 3 points. And to be fair, Chelsea at the moment, this iteration of Chelsea don't have that experience. So you would expect them to drop points against tricky games like that. So the Fulham, I knew they were going to drop points. Ipswich, a little bit, but those are the games where
the Ipswich one was
of course there's no need, but that comes with experience, knowing how to play those games, because they are, especially Ipswich away, you're going to the lines, like that's their lion's den. They want to show up for the fans, so you're aware that they are going to turn up that game. So that experience tells you, okay, guys, we have to be ruthless. When we get our chance, we take it. And you will see a better Chelsea the more experience they get in a year's time, 2 years' time. But for now, you just have to accept that this is the reason why they wouldn't challenge for the league, because they don't have the experience of dealing with these games. It is what it is, man. The game.
Maresca's right. They're not challenges.
He is right. They're not challenges. He is right.
Yeah. 100. Let's move on then. Obviously, City back to winning ways. I think that's back-to-back dubs for them, if I'm correct. Yeah, that it is. They beat West Ham 4-1. Haaland with 2 goals, back on the score sheet. Phil Foden as well. Did Sevilla scored as well, didn't he? Or was it an own goal?
It was an own goal.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so like 3 assists for him. Yeah, he played well.
But I did watch parts of that game. City are laboring, boy. They have the shooters, and that's why they can run up the numbers. But West Ham played, especially in the first half, they played bro. Kudus missed 2, missed 2 chances, but the decision making for 2 of those chances, if he made a better decision, that would have been 2-0 West Ham.
Yeah,
Facts, man.
Defensively, you just get cut through every week, man. You watch them and it's just, we know about the lack of legs, and we're not going to keep repeating ourselves, but just like concentration from the defenders, just like it's mad how easy they are to break, and it doesn't matter who they play against either, because Leicester did the same thing. They were getting chances, cutting through them. They got to go spend some money in Jan, man. The window's open. Go.
When is that Ruben Diaz coming back? Oh, Diaz slamming my jammer.
I saw that, you know.
He's busy, bro. He's busy. He's waiting for the Love Island All-Stars thing.
Was that real?
Confirmed,
bro.
The
pictures were grainy, boy. Confirmed.
Confirm, apparently.
Shout out him, man. That's respectable. That's a respectable UK. You get me?
From Lukaku to Diaz, you know. That's crazy, man. That's a crazy switch up, you know.
Mad. What was I gonna say? Yeah, on a toast on City quickly.
Yeah, man. I completely echo what you guys have said. I just wanted to say that I saw Pep's interview after the game, and he said
he was vexed.
He was like, "We're not at the level where I need us to be, man. Like, don't be fooled by this result, man." So even he knows that this ain't what the output he's like he wants from the team, you know. But City, historically, you know, at the turn of the year, that's when they start setting pace. So I mean, yeah, man. Let's see what they do.
Yeah, man. And then in the following game, Brentford went to St. Mary's and slapped them up for 5. I remember my team going there and do life or death. You know what I mean? So every time I see a team going to St. Mary's and just slapping them up, I just get vexed, bro. It's like, why can't we do that? But it is what it is, man. Same Brentford as well, lost to Arsenal Wednesday. We didn't cover that, but 1st of January, first game in 2025, 3-1 win for Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, and Marino on the score sheet, and Bremer with the opening goal. But also, I think it was a good win for Arsenal. I thought Arsenal would struggle there, but I think, yeah, Arsenal asserted themselves enough in that game and sort out the win in the end. But then you had the evening game against Brighton. So you had back-to-back difficult away trips. And for me, I knew Arsenal are not collecting 6 points in these 2 away games. So somewhere we're eating somewhere in it. And obviously it happened at Brighton. And I must say, like, I think similar to like the United versus Liverpool game today, man, Brighton were extremely good value for that draw. But in contrast, I thought Arsenal were poor, in my opinion. Arsenal fans, you guys can touch on your team later, but I didn't think. I don't know. It feels like Arsenal, you guys, and this is what you've echoed in the past, Toast, as well. Like, you guys are happy to go up 1-0 and forget about the rest of the game, and forget about your duties, forget about what you need to be doing, forget about against these teams, you need to run up the score. Against United, we needed to get the second. We needed to have that breathing space, you know what I mean? You can't rest on your laurels. And obviously Liverpool tried, but with Arsenal, it seems like you, man, don't even want to try. And I don't know. I don't think it's a lack of quality. I think Arsenal fans, you guys want to draw on that particular aspect of our attack is not good enough, whatever. If you want to compare it to other attacks in the leagues, that's fine. But I think you do have the quality to do much better than what you're doing. 100%. So I was pretty, from an objective point of view, I was pretty disappointed with Arsenal for not like putting Brighton to the sword there, man, in my opinion. And then also when I compare like both teams, when I compare the benches, half-time, Hurstler is bringing players on that I'm thinking these man could do a job from the bench for Arsenal as well, you know what I mean? So it's like, it was pretty interesting to see like how these both teams, specifically coming out for the second half, how these both teams attacked the game and who really wanted to go on and win the game despite being 1-0 down, and who was happy to go 1-0 and call it a game. Like I said, Arsenal fans, touch on it later or rebuttal to that later, but Strizza, everything that I just said,
music to my ears, man. Spot on. Like, these men are just, honestly, genuinely, these men just go on like they can win every game 1-0 and just park the bus. Like, it's embarrassing. They're meant to be a big club. They're meant to be a club going for the league. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to do it, but I promise you this now. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm bored. I'm bored week in, week out, because I see my team go 1-0 up in a game and then just defend or just try and see the game out. And it's boring. I don't enjoy watching Arsenal play football. I don't. Yeah, you man might pick up your dead wins and my team lose, but I enjoy watching my team. You man can't enjoy watching that. You can't. Brighton with a better side. Second half, Arsenal did nothing. You might talk about the Marino chance from the Declan Rice free kick. Yeah, he probably should have scored. But other than that, done nothing. There was only one team that actually wanted to win the game. And when Pedro did score the penalty, and I don't think it was a penalty personally, but we'll talk about that. One team was going to win that game. And if Minter just passed it across the box, they win the game 2-1. They'd have been good value for the 2-1 win. I just think, for me, everything you said, like, spot on. And I don't know what you man think, but why do you man not try and go get the second and third goal and kill the game off? Why do you rely on your defense?
Hey, Toast was happy with that. Toast was happy with that. Yeah, you were. If we go back to previous episodes, you were happy. You were happy to play
Andy,
that way.
I had a caveat.
Your own words, bro.
Yes or no, I had a caveat to that. And the caveat to that was going back to our principles of being a solid defensive team and keeping clean sheets.
That was a caveat.
The only difference is now,
but
we're not keeping those clean sheets.
It's not a birthright thing in the Prem, bro.
No. I get that. And that's why we're seeing a flaw in the system, because last year, and maybe even at times 22, 23, we could rely on getting one goal, and I could trust my defense to keep a clean sheet. It's crazy because, as we've all seen, Arteta has made such an investment in the defense, from centre back to left back to right back to defensive-minded midfielders,
to goalies,
and yet to goalies, and not so much on the offensive part of the field, and yet we're not actually as good defensively as we think we are. Like, and I think that's, for me, the biggest frustration. Like, if you're not capable, if you've invested all this time in your defense and you're not actually getting the clean sheets, and then you're relying on the fine margins of scoring one goal to win games, it's a recipe for disaster. I'll be so real with you. Like in these last 3 games, the Ipswich game, we won 1-0. I didn't see where the goal was coming from. In the Brentford game, when we went 1-0 down, I was convinced we were going to lose, man, because we're not playing right now in a way where I'm confident that we're going to be able to score goals. We're lacking so much. Someone tweeted it perfectly. Someone said it perfectly the other day that I feel as if at this point, Arsenal looks so overcoached that we need to teach the players how to play football like they're 5 years old. Like, what are the main principles of football? It's to have fun and to score goals. And
that's why I love. That's why. Sorry to cut you there. That's why I love the Nwaneri goal, because I'm sure Donis was screaming for him to pass, and he told him to fuck off. I'm slotting this in.
Yeah,
that's why I love that goal. But yeah, continue.
Like you, man. When was the last time you saw Arsenal score a counter-attack goal?
Never.
like, brother, it's almost as if we
against Crystal Palace, the EFL Cup, the Jesus hat trick.
Master.
It's been a minute.
You asked the question.
Because you know what's funny. Because you know what's funny. Every time you see Arsenal lose the ball, yeah. You see Arteta down the line. He's telling everyone to go back. Like literally, Come on, man. Leave. You can leave your sackers. You can leave your attackers forward, like 1 or 2. Yeah, you can, and trust your defense. And Rice and them, man.
Bro, I get being structured defensively. I get being structured in the midfield. I get even Raya having structure of taking a number of touches, drawing in the strikers for the press. But the attack can't have structure, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's too many passes. There's too much overcomplication. There's not enough joy in the attack. There's not enough counterattacks. There's not enough runs in behind. We're so predictable going forward that it's impossible to create chances. Like, Odegaard came on with 25 minutes to go, and he looked devoid of ideas. I was like, this ain't Odegaard that I remember from 22-23 that scored 15 goals. And fine, I get he was ill.
I knew Shalom was gonna run with that. Like, say Odegaard has not been moving mad for 4 games. I knew Shalom was gonna run with that.
Wasn't he ill?
When were you critique your team?
That was possibly the worst game I've seen from Odegaard, and he was ill.
Brentford,
I'll be real, man.
I wouldn't even give Brentford. But let's Toast finish. I will give my take.
Our attack looks like a shoe or a sock that's got a hole in it. It doesn't look good, bro. Like, bro, let's look at who started the game. We've got Trossard on the left wing. Trossard's one of my favorite players, but Trossard has shown that he's not a starting capable player on a consistent basis. Trossard's probably arguably the best 12th man off the bench. I love him off the bench. I think he's more of an impact player. Anytime he starts on the left wing he stinks up the joint. Then we have Gabriel Jesus. He's probably in a little bit of a purple patch right now. He's actually playing quite well. But Gabriel Jesus has said it himself that he don't care about goals, bro. And bro, nobody asked him to come out and make that statement, bro. And he came out and said that, bro, scoring is not the most important part of my game. And then you have Ethan Ranieri, to his credit, he's probably the maverick. He's probably like the one kind of wild card that we have in our team. But he's a 17-year-old. Do you know what I mean? We can't rely on him. That is a front line that is starting Premier League games away to difficult teams that you expect and people are expecting Arsenal to win every game and go on to win the league. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, man. Like, right now, I just feel like there's no joy in the attack. There's no invention in the attack. I'll say it again and again. I feel as if we're just too overcoached going forward. And bro, play the game like you're 5 years old, man. Like, for me, one of my favorite goals recently, was Gabriel Jesus' first goal against Brentford. Why? Because Partey took a shot from the edge of the box, bro. I hardly ever see our team take shots from the edge of the box. If you take a shot, you might get a ricochet, the keeper might bundle it, and then even Gabriel Jesus acting like a number 9, cleaning up. Like we don't score enough of those goals because you're passing it out to the wing. The wingers are then coming back and passing it to the centre-backs. The centre-backs are then passing it back to the wing. We waste so much time trying to build up an attack. By the time you do that, there's 11 men behind the ball. And then Arsenal fans don't understand why Arsenal fans claim that other teams play differently against us. That's not the case. It's because we're so slow in building up our attacks that by the time the ball gets to the edge of the box, there's 11 men behind the ball. Like, come on, play with some invention, man. But all that to say, man, a lot of like I said, I don't see Arsenal winning the league as presently constructed. I'm hoping that this is a really big month for us in terms of the window. I personally feel like we need 2 attackers, man. But Arteta has so much trust in his players that I'll be surprised if we even get one. And it's not going to be enough to beat Liverpool, man. Not as we're presently constructed, man.
Go on, miss.
Where do I start, man? I agree with most things Toast said.
So what don't you agree with? Let's start there.
What don't I agree with? I think, for me, I do think we have a good defense. I don't think our defense is really poor. The goals we've conceded, in terms of I'd hate drawing for this because it just sounds like you're a douchebag, but XGs. Those XGs that we've considered, goals we've considered, look at the XGs, they're very low. So what does that tell me? That we have a good defense, and essentially the goals we're conceding is very, very much like a 1 out of 100 or 20 out of 100 type goals. The issue we have is clearly we don't have a good attack. That's the main issue, and that's why I do agree with Toast. And this stems from our transfer window. We didn't get anyone of note into the club. The winger we got was Sterling, and that was because it was cheap. So that, and you wonder why we are where we are.
Do you think you got a good midfield?
I think we have a good defensive
You have good midfield. You have good midfield players, but
we have a good defensive midfield, right? We don't have Rice and Partey. I think once they play, they control the midfield and they just lock it off. What we don't have is another Odegaard, another more attacking, creative player. What we also don't have is a winger and a striker. If we have, so when Toast said we need 2, I think we need 3. We need a striker, we need a left winger, and we need an 8, or like a more creative 8, because Marino isn't that guy, especially moving forward. I did say I'll give him time, but from what my estimation of Marino is that he is a halfway house. I call him a halfway house. He's built like a 6. And he duels a lot. I'm not sure how much he wins the duels, but he keeps the ball and he kind of passes the ball and keeps it moving like something like an 8. But he doesn't do the offensive work of an 8 in terms of just driving and taking players on. You won't see Marino doing that. You give him the ball, he brings it back, slows the game down. He just keeps passing the ball. So we have a halfway house in Marino. What we need is an attacking midfielder, someone who is quite different to Odegaard, someone who's willing to shoot. I saw a tweet the other day, and someone said the difference between Odegaard and KDB is when it's time to leng it, when it's time to just go direct, KDB will do it. KDB will shoot, but Odegaard would rather just do his intricate passing. And as such, we need a different option in midfield.
You'll be doing that scoop,
exactly,
pass, man.
The scoop passing.
Shoot this ball, man.
Are we going to get those 3 players? Hell no, because that's not how Arsenal works. In fact, would we even get 1 player this season? Let's just leave that. I don't know if we will. That's just the reality of it. The way I look at it is, I was reading a book not too long ago. You probably heard of it, The Art of War, and the author said if you're good defensively, you lose less, so you can control your fate. But if you want to win a game, if you want to win a match, you have to be great offensively. And that's exactly where Arsenal are. We can control a game defensively not to lose games, but we can't control our offensive attack. And because of that, I'm not waving the white flag, but I see where Toast is saying that this league won't be won by us just because of that fact.
I'll be so real with you, man. I don't think I ever want to see a midfield of Mikel Merino, J5, Jorginho, and Declan Rice again. That is a Tesco meal deal midfield, bro. Declan Rice is the water. J5 is the fucking ready salted crisps. and Marino is a fucking ham sandwich. No mayo, no butter. Just bread and ham, bro. That midfield is disgusting, bro. How can you have 3 players of the same profile in midfield, bro? It doesn't make sense.
So
It doesn't make
I was going
sense.
to ask you,
But that's why I asked.
Arteta,
That's why.
Arteta.
Go on.
And also, okay, you know this whole Odegaard being ill thing, yeah? If you're ill,
Tell him
stay at
shuts up.
home. Stay at home and just stay in bed and drink a hot chocolate. Because if you're
But then-
coming to the game to do
Look
the
our
warm
bench,
up,
though.
if
Look our
you're coming
bench.
to the game to do a warm up, to then go back on the bench and you're ill, then you can't be expected to come on the pitch and then play well. If you're ill, you have to start. You either play and start the game and get through the game. If you have to come off, you come off, or you don't go at all. That's on Arteta. The midfield, I understand bench, whatever. That's on Arteta, and
That's
also
also
as
on
well,
Arteta.
it's also on Arteta. It's on him, and also as well. Yeah, like I think in terms of like so that midfield 3, yeah, we know no creativity, no one in there that can pull the strings, whatever. That's fine. You find a way. You find a way to do it. If you're a top team, you find a way, and you man ain't doing it. So
Okay,
then my question to you is,
let me just quickly deal with that.
my question to you is,
no. Let me deal with
Arteta.
Let me deal with that very Striz. Let me do it very quickly. Say Marino scores that goal. Say I doubt you saw the game, but
Yeah, I watched the game. Watch the game.
Okay,
The one with
the free kick
yeah.
from Declan Rice. He scores that. We go 2-0 up. Game is more or less done, right?
But we can say this
Yeah.
about anything. Like the
Okay.
whole, if my mum had will, she'd be a bike.
Yeah. Whatever.
Ultimately,
But to answer your question, you as a Spurs fan would take Arteta all day than that bloody Aussie koala drinking fucking manager.
Mate, stop going there, man. What do you
Nah,
mean?
I'm not.
That's
Yeah,
a koala,
but
yo.
yo, hey, we might have to cut that one there, man. We're getting
Nah,
racist now.
brother.
That's
We might
crazy.
listeners and that.
Hey,
Nah, brother.
hey, we love
Just-
Australians. I've got Australians
we
friends. We love you all.
Just
We
to
love you
answer
all,
the
Aussies.
question, you will take Arteta over him, and that's the
No, I
fact.
wouldn't.
So
I wouldn't.
let's not
Nah,
let's
I
not
don't
run
think people would, you know.
Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a Toast a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Do you enjoy watching your team play football week in, week out?
At present, no, but I know the reason why. As I said, I know the reason why. But your team playing
This is the
football-
Arsenal segment, big man. Why are you bringing up Tottenham for?
This
is the Arsenal segment.
I'm
Why are you deflecting?
flipping it. I'm not
This is the
deflecting.
Arsenal segment.
I'm not deflecting. You asked me a question. I answered and said no, but I know the reason why. Right?
Yeah,
But
so keep it to Arsenal.
Mind you, we're second in the league. So I know the reason why to there's needed for us to win the league. It's a clear reason why.
What's that?
Our attack isn't good enough, and we fucked it. It's our fault. So I can take responsibility as an Arsenal fan, and I can tell you there's a reason why we're not winning the league. So we've met, and I don't agree it's Arteta's fault because Arteta just doesn't buy players.
I'll tell you
He
why. It's
identifies
Arteta's
them,
fault.
He
He
identifies
prioritizes
them.
the defense. He prioritizes the defense because like you
And-
just said, the book you read,
Yeah.
he wants to be defensively solid, and he
Yeah.
has completely neglected the attack and the final third of the pitch, where you lack creativity, where it was a problem. I think certain times was papered over Saka's performances last season and Martinelli a couple of seasons ago. We've known that you needed the ball, and you got Sterling in, and it wasn't going to be good enough, and we all seen it. That is on Arteta. Simple as that. It's on Arteta.
I mean, Arteta. I think it's not necessary on Arteta because who did Arteta? Arteta was going for Nico Williams. That didn't work out. He wanted to get Shesko. That didn't work out. I feel like the Shesko situation I will put down Arteta because someone said, and it's not the most moralistic way to go. You lied to him because the reason why Shesko didn't go to Arsenal is because we told him we're not guaranteeing starts over Havertz. You lied to him. You lied to him. He comes to the club, and then we figure it out from there.
But again, that's Arteta, right? If
And
Arteta,
that's why I said.
is
That's why I
preferring,
said.
if
No.
Arteta
That's why.
if
Listen to me. That's
Arteta
why I
is telling
said.
someone
Go ahead.
a striker, young up and coming striker,
Yeah.
you're not guaranteed to start ahead of Havertz.
And
That's
I
your
agree
gaffer,
with
bro.
that. And I just said I'll put down Arteta. You lied to him. But I guess Arteta is a good man. He doesn't want to lie to the guy, and you don't want to start a relationship with a lie because that never really ends up well, anyways. But like I said, the main issues doesn't really lie on Arteta. It lies on people like Edu, the club, etc. And Arteta has built a team where his team is defensively solid. You know what you're gonna get, but attacking wise, it's lacking a lot. It's lackluster. So I think that's where we are.
I think one of Arteta's biggest downfalls is, and I do think Arteta has to kind of take some of the blame for sure. I think one of his biggest downfalls is he has a lot of faith in this attack. He has a lot of faith in like the Martinellis and the Jesuses, the Havertzes. And if I'm honest, they've let him down, man. Like they've not been to the level that he probably thinks they are. But so in some respect, he has to take some accountability for that as well. Like for me, like the past 2 years was defined by the Havertz signing, man. I'm going to maintain it, man, because you come off the 22-23 season, you have no business challenging for the title. You do challenge for the title, you fall off. And then you come into the next season. What do you have to do to capitalize? Buy a bloody number 9, bro. Buy a bloody number 9. Or at least buy a capable player in that position. And he failed to do that. Instead, he went all in on this fake Havertz project, bro. I said this the other week, bro. How do you buy somebody to play the Curtis Jones role and then you end up putting him up top as a 9? It doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. So at the end of the day, for as much as they've trusted Arteta to build the goalkeeper, to build the DM, to build the wing backs, to build the defense, he has to also take the blame for not building our attack. Someone show me a list of all the players that Arsenal have bought from on the right wing since in Arteta's tenure. Willian and Marquinhos. We're in 2024, bro. That's not good enough, man. And I get we have Saka, and I get Saka's developed into one of the best right wingers in the world, but it's unacceptable that we don't have a backup for him, bro. I'm sorry, man. But Arteta has to take the blame for that.
I also think, obviously you guys know Arsenal better than me, of course, but I think he's not misprofiling, but the combination of midfield that he chooses to play week in, week out is also wrong. And I think the midfield in your last couple of games has also let you down in regards to setting up shop properly, but also feeding your attackers as well. Declan Rice, for what he is, he should be a 6. He should be that number 6 instead of that 8 experiment that he keeps doing with Declan Rice, because he's not good at that. And I kind of get why he uses Declan Rice in that way, because of like his ability to ball carry and mobility. Every now and then being able to pass and be in box to box. But no, I think Declan Rice's best position should be a 6. Partey should never be right back. I know Timber was injured or whatever, but Lewis Kelly there.
Who plays 8, bro? Who plays 8,
bro? That's what I'm saying. So Partey 8 and put Odegaard or whoever as the other 8. That should be your midfield 3, because Miko Marino, whoever,
no one can.
Or not Partey. But that's what I'm saying. Not Partey. Not Partey, because that's what sheds you, because
we've lost Ben White.
No. But listen, that's what sheds you, because in this game against Brighton, in the second half, they were beating you up in midfield. And
I agree.
Even Brentford, Norgard, what he was doing with your midfield, he was moving mad.
I agree, but then who plays right back? We've lost Ben White. We've lost Tomiyasu, right?
Can Skelly not play right back? Can he not be the makeshift right back?
He's just started playing left back. He's actually his main role is actually in midfield. So you can't.
Yeah, you had to play Partey right back. But you have to look at why did Timber get suspended?
Adringa or like a thing. Why did Timber? Because he got
time wasting. Because you're time wasting in the first half of football matches.
He actually didn't get the yellow card for that, by the way.
No, he didn't. But I'm saying
most of his yellows.
They've been for time wasting.
But so did Lewis Kelly as well. So you know what? I don't necessarily agree in regards to your point in midfield and misprofiling players. I think what Arsenal tried to do with that Mikel Merino is not working. I think they need to get a better 8, because I like a midfield of Declan Rice and 5, because it creates.
So when all your right backs are coming back, and you want to get another 8. So what's going to be your midfield 3, ideally? Is it going to be 2 CDMs and a cam? Or
I
how are
think
you
for
gonna
now, for now, it has to be 2 CDMs and Odegaard. If we get a new 8 in, it has to be Rice, that 8, and Odegaard, and then bring in Partey from the bench. For example,
no way,
if
he's
you
your
take,
best midfielder, bro.
I listen, I get that, but he's also aging, so you have to take into account those facts. So, for example, the Brighton game, second half, if we had a Partey in that second half, he would have controlled and locked off that.
Yeah,
exactly. But we couldn't do that. So you have to, you know what? We all have injuries.
But the thing is, Arteta. But sometimes the risk is proved, bro. And this is our point about Arteta. When you told Strizza, he would rather have Arteta than Ange, and him laughing at that speaks volumes. And not because he's a Spurs fan or whatever, but I think most fans would actually answer the same way. Like Arteta, his way of terrorism football is not.
Sorry for cutting you off. I looked at what Arteta's done compared it with Ange. I would take Arteta every day.
Brother, he's had 5 years. And what have you done?
I get that.
You've had 5 years, bro. And you spent a whole heap of money as well. Like, honestly, genuinely wouldn't swap Arteta for Ange. I promise you. It's not like he's coming with a CV of like winning trophies every season. Bro. Because I'm seeing,
I think a few people would say that.
I swear down,
a few people would have that opinion.
There's not a day in my life that I would take Ange Postecoglou over Arteta, man. I'll be real, man.
Say no, man. You keep enjoying that football, bro. You keep enjoying that football.
The thing is, Ange showed himself to be stubborn to a fault. Like Ange will actually put his team in the firing line, bro, just to ensure that he continues to play a system. But fine, Arteta can be a conservative guy, but bro,
2 extremes.
Bro, there's not a day in my life.
What showed me with Ange was the whole corner situations, and they were conceding corners. What did he say? We don't practice that. But you're conceding fucking corners.
Yeah, but do you actually believe?
Yeah, but what?
Shalom. Do you actually believe that?
Let's move on.
Do you actually believe that? Like, come on, man.
Okay.
Let's move on, man. But anyway, let's give Brighton some credit. Shout out Brighton as well. They played a good game. Could have gone for a win. In regards to the Saliba situation.
Yeah, I want to ask on that. Do you think it's a pen? Are you going to talk about it? Okay.
Yeah, so obviously at the time, I thought Stonewall pen.
Oh, at the time. Okay.
At the time, I thought it was a pen, like a Stonewall pen. But looking at it more and more, I still think it's a pen. But I agree with you guys, it's soft. But I still think it's a pen. I am not of the agreement of people saying it's a clash of heads. I don't think that was the case. I think what's his name? Saliba, he was just moving wild in trying to head the ball. He was moving wild and he headed. There's a still image here. There's a still image of Saliba literally doing this on Joao Pedro's face, bro.
Andy,
like he tried to knock his head off.
Before the contact.
Hold on. When people say he got the ball, you're acting like it's great. He went like this.
I have another question for you, Andy.
Yeah.
It went like this.
Because I've been seeing clips circulating. When Van Dijk used his shoulder into Anthony Gordon, did you think that was a foul?
Yeah, of course we did. We all said that. We said we got away with it. We all said that.
Say no more.
Right, I got a question. I got a question.
We got away with it.
I got a question for everyone. Say Saliba goes down holding his head. Do you reckon a pen is given?
Nope.
But Saliba would only do that if it was a genuine clash of heads. But it wasn't a genuine clash of heads.
But he did. So didn't they hit? Wasn't there contact? Wasn't there contact?
As well.
What I'm asking is,
it's the same as being late with a tackle with your leg. It's the same thing.
Right. Say he comes
and 2 people are like, I'm injured. You're the aggressor, bro.
Andy, question: if the penalty wasn't given, do you think the game would have been in disrepute?
No, that's why it's a soft pen.
It's a soft pen. What makes me sick as well, having watched the replay, not one Brighton, there was 4 Brighton players in the box. Not one of them asked for the pen, bro. I mean, there's no one with a better view than the Brighton players on the pitch.
No, but they had the ball. They still had the ball. They were still attacking. One day, because Anthony Taylor, he took his time. He took his time to blow the whistle.
He didn't, and that's
did.
another thing that concerns me.
No,
He
was looking. He didn't blow
looking.
immediately.
He was looking.
He didn't blow immediately.
He didn't blow immediately,
and then he was like,
For me, I'm that Anthony Taylor, man, honestly. And for me,
he's a criminal.
Any time Arsenal fans say anything, we get made out to be conspiracy theorists. But I honestly, I genuinely feel as if that guy likes to make the game about him sometimes, because for me,
but that's true.
How can none of the Brighton players in the box be asking for the pen, but you go out of your way to give the pen? For me, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And also that was the fastest VAR check I've seen in the league. Fastest VAR check. It took like 2-3 seconds done.
But I think VAR will just like if you're sure, we'll take it. I think that's what they I think that's what because it wasn't a card, it wasn't a red card.
I hate Arsenal, but it's not a pen, man. It's not. The VAR checks are a joke as well, but I think you can't give a pen for that, man. You can't.
I get what you guys are saying.
Man. And do you know what it is? If the ref didn't give it, VAR ain't gonna check it. Do you know what I mean? They're not gonna go and be like,
they can't overturn that.
Possible pen, like wait, they're not gonna do that for that. It's
it's soft. It's soft.
It's one of the worst decisions I've seen recently, man.
But at the end of the day, man, like I think even up until that point, Brighton were on the ascendancy. Arsenal,
I disagree, man.
They had a few chances before that, in my opinion. And then afterwards as well, it requires a reaction from Arsenal to do something. You didn't. Brighton were fisting you up from that point onwards. So
I mean, usually that's what happens.
I don't even see it as an excuse.
You're the home team and you score an equalizer. The onus is not on you to attack, and that's what happens. But like you said, if you're top team and you're chasing the league, you have to respond. But we couldn't, and I think also that says a lot about our bench. We didn't have no one coming from the bench.
I don't even think it's that. You know, I said this to Tabs earlier as well, where like in any other normal circumstance, drawing 1-0 to Brighton is calm. For me, I'm shook of Brighton. So if I get a point at Brighton, it's calm. But because you guys, the margin for error, I think that's what the issue is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
agreed.
Let's move on. 1-0 Arsenal. Arsenal still with 2 L's. They don't lose that much, but they drawing. That's already 7 draws for the Arsenal. You know what I mean? So keep stacking them, man. Keep stacking them. I know what drawing this like, man. Keep stacking them. And then the games today, Fulham versus Ipswich ended in a 2-2 draw. Crazy game. I mean, from the moment you see, I said it in a group chat as well, you see a ref with no FIFA badge, you already know what time it is. He gave 3 penalties. 2 of them were questionable, to be honest. One of them, he'd even won a gift, which was a clear penalty. So it is what it is, man. But, you know, Ipswich, they have themselves to blame for that, especially Leif Davis, man. I've already said about him, man. He's fake. He's fake in terms of like he acts like he's hard, he's sick, but he's dead. He's so dead.
I'm hearing England call up. I was like, what? Nah.
No way, man. I don't rate him one bit, man. But yeah, Fulham, man, good team. 2-2 draw. And yeah, that was it, man, for this particular game week. Let's head over to the bar, man. It's a late one. Any shots for the boys?
I have a very quick shot, man, but it's not a good shot in it, man. So I'm gonna have to take a Ray or a Sambuca, man. Like, and again, we could maybe do a curious case of this at some point down the line, but the standard of refereeing, man, is just at an all-time low, man, particularly in England, man, because I'm thinking back to growing up, the days of watching ball where it's just, there's no technology, it's 2 linos, it's 1 ref. We were not talking about refs every single week. I'm sorry, we weren't. Like, I remember and Strizza probably remembers this as well, Pedro Mendes at Man United, when Roy Carroll saves it off the line. You would hear about an egregious decision once a season, bro. Like, genuinely,
Luis Garcia, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Brother, we were like, bro, and they didn't even have the help of technology. And now we're talking about a egregious or bad decision every single week. And I'm just like, what is going on? You have more help now. You have something in your ear. You have video assistants. You have your 4th official, and you still can't get this shit right. Like, man, man. Something has to give, man. Refs right now, and particularly in England, because I don't see. It's not as bad in European leagues and in Champions League, but in England right now, refereeing is at an all-time low, man.
Yeah, 100%, man. Any other shots?
Yeah, I got one. Just for Brandon Austin, man. First start, been at the club since he was a youth. Never played a game, and then gets thrown into a game of obviously it's important because you say before the start of the season, us and Newcastle would be competing for kind of if we're going to get in the top 4, top 6. And I thought he did really well. Like crosses, came for crosses, corners where we're usually susceptible. Came out, claimed it, won fouls, punched things away, caught things. So hopefully it'll be the last I see Fraser Forster in the net. And whilst Vicario's out, although we have signed a keeper, not that I know much about him, hopefully he gets an opportunity to get a run of games, man. Starting on Thursday against Liverpool in the Cup. So yeah, shot for him.
Mace?
No shots from me.
Not even for Carlos Baleba. Joao Pedro. No, Brighton.
Pedro. Nah, it was all good, bro. I'm good.
All right, man. I've got no shots neither, man. I've got no shots. I guess that was it then. Full house. Hey, you guys come more often, man. Full house, man. I like it. I like it still. Yeah. Follow us on VARBAR Podcast. Like, subscribe, do all that nice stuff there, and we'll catch you next week, man. My name is Andrew,
Peace.
aka Rapping Drew. We are the Compadres. Mace, Strizza. Thank you very much.
Come on.
Peace.
Bless.
In a bit.